Was there anybody in your class at school who you hated and got revenge on? Part 2. Story 8. The kids in my neighborhood were always pretty brutal towards me. I had a long stretch of awkward years, and one day early in high school, I got caught up after the final bell of the day and was rushing to make my bus home. I was running in a full sprint and saw the bus pulling away. I ran after it only to see the ringleader of my neighborhood miscreants flipping me off and throwing papers at me from the back window of the bus, and the rest of the neighborhood kids laughing at me. They never stopped the bus for me. That same kid has since had several DUIs and a laundry list of misdemeanors and now works at one of the area's only full-service gas stations. The feeling I get when I go out of my way in my shiny Audi to that gas station just to special request him to pump my gas is the best revenge I'll ever have. I just fist pumped in real life. I'm not a believer in any higher power or magic or anything, but karma, at least my rudimentary understanding of it, seems to be a natural force in the world. Be a jerk for long enough, and oftentimes the world will be a jerk right back to you eventually. Not always, because there truly is no cosmic justice that I can see, but often enough we can see folks reaping the life they have sown. Story 9. In 5th grade, this kid would always pick on me. Let's just call him Jason. Every day during PE, he would always make fun of me and call me a weakling. I was fairly small and knew myself that I was not very strong and was usually always picked last during dodgeball, basketball, etc., etc. Well, one day after months of him just always making fun of me, he was in front of me making fun like he normally does, and I just decided to kick him as hard as I could in the balls in the boys' locker room. He started screaming and crying, and I told him to never mess with me again. And he never did after that. After that incident, though, I got more crap from a lot of people because hitting a kid in the balls is really cheap, I guess it was. But he should have never fricked with me to begin with. Wherever you are, Jason, thanks for making my life a living heck for 2 years during middle school, and I hope from that point forward you never picked on anyone else. Frick you. That's my purse! I don't know you! Boo! I literally just watched this episode 2 days ago. Sorry, Jason, but in grade school, if you're going to be a bully, then I hope you're ready to get kicked, because sometimes kids are going to do that. Story 10. Got a lot of fat jokes from this one kid throughout 7 of my years in school. Got them all the time from most people, but there was real hate and venom behind this one kid's insults. During a biology practical, I hit a cow's eye in his sandwich and kept half an eye on him during the lunch hour. Judging by his reaction, he got a good bite of it before realizing. Ugh. After that, people were drawing eyes on his books, notes, and making jokes about it, and he never heard the end of it. I know this makes me lower than him, but I have no regrets. Well, I kind of feel like throwing up just reading that, so I would say that is definitely revenge. Like, getting teased like that for 7 years is just awful, but making a kid eat an eyeball, that's intense. Oh god, I'm gonna be sick if I think on this one much longer. Moving on. Story 11. There was this girl in high school that was your quintessential popular B that everyone really hated. She was probably the meanest person I've ever seen up close. 10 years later, she works at Denny's. I go in as often as possible to drum up casual conversation about my life and then overtip as much as possible. Story 12. My male classmate was always a dong, a practical joker, but he picked on me the most. He threw spitballs from the back of the class to me. I sat at the front, put twisted staple bullets on my chair at every opportunity, called me names, sometimes pushed me around, and usually got me humiliated in my class. So one day during class, he was doing as usual, spitballs. It was a good day for him because it landed on my hair. From that moment, something within me snapped, and I got up calmly from my chair with a mechanical pencil in my hand. I stabbed him squarely at the back of his hand. He looked mortified, but he took it like a champ. The lead of the pencil broke and stuck to his skin. I must have stabbed pretty deep. There were some droplets of blood from the wound. Before he could do anything, the teacher came in and started class, so he couldn't excuse himself. When class ended, I saw him bolt toward the bathroom. My friend leaned over and whispered to me, "You know that he likes you, right?" I just sat there feeling half guilty and half victorious. Well, he didn't disturb me much after that. Oh, and this was when we were 15. Too long didn't read. Felt like Arnold and Helga from Hey Arnold, but with a little blood. My only tattoo is a piece of pencil stuck in my arm. He probably sees it and thinks about you. You'll be with him forever. I never really understood the bully equals flirt mindset some folks have. Like, I get the idea. You want their attention, but you don't want to seem interested because it's embarrassing, or maybe you think it's a joke between both of you. But, like, whatever happened to just approaching a fella or lady, smiling at them and saying, "Nice shoes. Want a frick?" Story 13. Yeah, back in kindergarten, this punk kid would tease me for having a weird name. So one day during nap time, I was sitting at my desk, head down, when I saw the kid heading out to the bathroom. When I heard him returning, I casually stuck up my leg, he tripped, face planted, got up, lost a tooth, and started crying. I smiled and went back to my nap. That's pretty thug for kindergarten. Story 14. When I was in 4th grade, this annoying 3rd grader kept messing with me. He would run up behind me and try to knock me down all the time. Especially since he was just a 3rd grader that was trying to bully me, it peed me off, and I decided to end it before it got out of control. I saw him standing there doing nothing like a butthole one day at recess and remember how much he had been bothering me. I started running as fast as I could, straight at him from across the playground, and knocked him flat on his back. He got up and tackled me, and we rolled around on the ground, wrestling for a little while before one of the recess monitors saw us. I got in trouble and had to write "I will not fight" or something like that 25 times during one recess. He never bothered me again after that, though. Standing there doing nothing like a butthole one day at recess. What the F? I guess I spent a few recesses being a butthole myself. Oh man, this brought back memories because I did this to a bully in like 3rd or 4th grade. Kid was just relentless on picking on other kids, so one day I ran up behind him and shoulder-checked him to the ground. These days, I realize it was because he was heavier, probably endured teasing, and, as is often the case, was just teasing as a way of joking to get positive attention, so I feel a little bad. Except as we got older, he became a super judgmental Christian, crapping on everyone who wasn't, so I don't feel too bad. Story 15. There was another boy who was continuously picking on me. Then one day we were all playing basketball and he started again. I was so peed that when he turned around I kicked his butt, literally, so hard that he went up in the air and he landed on the ground. Even my foot hurt quite a bit, so hard I kicked him. He stood up, then went 50 to 100 meters away while clearly being in pain and with tears in his eyes, and then came back after 15 minutes and played further like nothing happened. Never bugged me again after that. Story 16. I had a bully in middle school who bothered me since I was in 4th grader. He was one of many, but none of them ever had the balls to pull something physical. The last week of my final year at that middle school, he decided to pull some crap and starts talking to me in an attempt to get a rise out of me. In any case, it worked. I was fed up with everyone's crap. That, on top of being forced to attend graduation from a school I despised with a fiery passion, caused me to drop all sense of civility and composure. It just so happened he had his mouth wide open when I spit at his face. I don't know where I got him, but I hope it was in the mouth. I figured this might actually get him to throw a punch, so I'd have an excuse to go frickin' crazy and bite his ear off or something. After letting one rip, he sat there dumbfounded for a little while. He then walked away and came back 5 minutes later threatening to kick my butt. He never did anything. I'm not gonna lie, that is gross as heck and made me feel a little sick, but I support it fully. Non-violent, but sends a truly spectacular message. Like, you definitely might have gotten decked, but I don't know, there's something about that I appreciate. Story 17. I never really understood/believed the saying, "success is the best revenge," until recently. I was extremely skinny and weak in school and got a lot of crap from bullies. It was not a good time in my life at all. I did okay through school, but somehow ended up with a decent office job making good money. I'm proud of what I've become, but I don't really see myself as any more special than anyone else. One day I was on my lunch break from work and stopped at a gas station to grab a snack and a drink. I got my stuff and walked up to the register. Behind it was Chris, let's call him. Chris liked to throw me against the lockers at school, throw stuff at me in the hallways, and just mess with me despite my never really knowing him all that well. He was just overall a bad person, and from things I heard after I left school, he continued being a waste of space. So here was Chris. I was 21 when I ran into him. He had to be around 23 or so. He worked at a gas station, and from what I had heard through the grapevine, was still doing a ton of drugs and whatnot. The next part of the story could go with me saying, "Remember me, craphead?" But it doesn't. I didn't say anything. I'm not a bully. He didn't recognize me from the look of things, so I just let him live his life. I just kept that victory in the back of my head that occasionally the universe does things right and bad people don't amount to much. Good on you for not rubbing it in. And frankly, this is a good reminder to everyone that sometimes the bullies of the world were going through a lot of their own crap, likely at home. I don't wish them ill. I actually feel bad for them to a degree, but also, fans of the channel say it with me, sympathy doesn't erase accountability. But hey, if you are or were a bully, you can also turn that crap around, make up for it, and live a generally happier, better life. Story 18. Back in 8th grade, there was a kid who thought he was the toughest gangster to ever live. He was a tiny guy, about 5 foot tall. He would always talk about how he beat some other kids up and how awesome his gang-banging brother was. I have no idea why, kind of a stupid thing to brag about. Anyway, one day we were in gym playing soccer and he kept calling me AP to try and make himself look tough. At the time, I was about 6 feet tall. I got so fed up with this crap that I picked him up by his neck and walked around about 5 feet to the soccer goal and threw him into it. And the teacher never looked up from his laptop. He never said crap to me again. Story 19. Nothing great. In 6th grade, I wasn't the most beautiful girl, so I was picked on because I was overweight. All the time, the popular girls would pick on me, so one day I noticed the most popular girl in class had a tissue sticking out of her bra. She started picking on me, and I instantly came back with, "I'm going to cry about it. Can I borrow a tissue from your bra?" in front of our whole class during indoor recess. Instant tears. Never seen that girl cry before. It was the best moment of my 6th grade year. Stupid comeback, but it was a hitter. Never felt like such. The best part of this story is how the last sentence just dissolves into nonsense. Story 20. One day in 2nd grade, a girl stole the prize I got for winning a game of math bingo. She just went into my backpack and stole it. I told my teacher about it, and she made a whole classroom search. It was in her backpack. As it turns out, there was a ton of stolen loot in there. She later transferred schools. Story 21. In high school, this girl wiped her feet against the back of my jacket. Being an awkward, shy kid, I cried silently inside and watched on as her friends laughed. About 5 minutes later, she tripped walking down the bleachers and fell on her face. If ever there is such a thing called cosmic revenge, that was it. Cosmic revenge sounds like a special attack from Dragon Ball Z, and frankly, I'm here for it. You dare to wipe your feet on the Prince of all Saiyans! Story 22. Got bullied in secondary school. Eventually, I had enough and pushed him down a flight of stairs and then walked into class like nothing happened. Please don't push people down flights of stairs, please. Like, that could have killed the person. This definitely crosses a line for me. Story 23. I was picked on continuously by, I guess, what most would call a bully. 10 years later, he apologized for being such a douche, and I accepted the apology and moved on with my life. I sure showed him. Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.